is at behind the plate. 9 is at third base. 29 is in right. 15 left. 1 is at second base. 23 is pitching.
Okay, thank you.
Perfect.
And we're live, but you're muted out, so.
Have they shown up there?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah,
both
we
of them
got
up there?
Yes,
Okay,
two
perfect.
cameramen up there, so we're good.
Perfect. Awesome. If you need anything, give me a call.
Okay. So there you go, there's your answer.
idea what. Um, but also like physician's assistant at the same time. Yeah, I don't really know yet. I'm just like keeping my options open. So yeah, I took like science and business classes this year, and it was a struggle. Still is. Yeah, I'm like the only one I know who's doing that. Yeah, it's just like PA is like kind of my backup. It's like a safe job, but like I'm more interested in business. I just don't know what I would do with it. You know? Yeah, I was pre-med at first, and then I took medicine, and I was like, nope, not anymore.
Welcome back to the Tiger Network, where the Tigers match up with Our Lady of the Lake from across the highway for the second time this season. The NAIA opponents come in with a record of 21-20, and your Trinity Tigers stand at number 4 in the latest national poll with a record of 23-7. Come off of a conference sweep at the weekend against Austin College, and they look to continue that momentum tonight. On the mound for the Tigers is going to be Holden Nix for the first time this season. We'll see the 6'5" right-hander from, let me try to get this right, Atascadero, California, for the first time after suffering an injury that kept him out up until this point. In his Tiger career, he's had 19 appearances, 7 starts. He's got a 2-1 record and a save to his name and 46 innings pitched. He's got an ERA of 4.11. So we'll see what he has on offer for the first time in 2019 here today. Going to be all by my lonesome trying to describe the action for you here as we get underway. Our Lady of the Lake wearing the black uniforms, gray pants, and the black socks. Blue helmets here as they step up to the plate. And there is your first offering from Holden Nix. You know about as much as I do about him now after I've read to you his stat line in his Trinity career. So we'll see what he can offer here. His first appearance of the season. He's up against a lineup including the likes of TJ Kastner, who's hitting .311 on the season and leads the team in at-bats. Here he is, the leadoff man. See his stats on your screen. The Corpus Christi native, senior, having a good season in the second campaign for head coach Brian Aurney. Number 13 deals. That one goes for ball 4. So there's a leadoff base runner here for the Saints. The rest of that lineup for you: Jacob Mitchell, the first baseman; Jose Diaz, the center fielder; Daniel Enciso, the designated hitter; Robert Lopez, the catcher; Alec Martinez, the third baseman; Matt Mioloff in right; Jacob Monteano in left; and Ryan Chapa, the second baseman. Plenty of change for the Tigers as well. We'll go through that in the bottom half of the inning as Nick's able to find the zone there. He's up against Jacob Mitchell, the sophomore, starting today at first. Behind the plate for the Tigers, and it's not who we normally see in Michael Goodrich. It's Brian Hessler, Tigers number 23, will be their backstop on this Tuesday night game. A couple of notable names missing from the Tiger lineup as they get the day off with eyes to the big matchup at the weekend against Southwestern. Tigers will be heading to Mary Hardin Baylor first tomorrow, when presumably you'll see some of the starters return to the lineup looking to keep rhythm, and they'll head to Georgetown at the weekend. And that one will go for Nix's first strikeout of the season, and he gets the ball right back. He's ready to go again. He'll be up against Jose Diaz, the center fielder. The D3 baseball national poll, a bit of a shakeup at the top with Concordia Chicago moving up from second to first. Christopher Newport drops back down. Southern Maine in the 3 spot, and Trinity stays at 4. Notably, SCAC companions of the Tigers, Texas Lutheran in 6th. They drop a spot. Teams the Tigers have played include Babson, who's 14, and looks like it's going to be a free base here for Kastner. So that takes away the potential inning-ending double play for Holden Nix on the mound. And for a guy that's been out so long, the biggest thing for him, I think, is going to be trying to establish some rhythm on the mound. Sound like he's just back from injury. He's certainly been throwing plenty of bullpen sessions and throwing in practice as well, but up against a real game-time opponent, there's just something a bit different about it, and finding that comfortability will be the key number one for the senior. But he does have some experience, a couple of years playing for his head coach, Tim Scannell. The 2-0, and that one also misses, so Nick's behind here in this count, 3-0. And just to continue to speak on the national rankings, what's hurt Trinity, I think, the most is the fact that they've played quite a few ranked teams, and yet only one of them has managed to stay in the top, besides, of course, TOU, who they dropped the series against earlier on this year. You had people like Birmingham Southern, who we played. They received votes, but weren't in the top 25. And then people like Cortland, who we kicked off the season against. They were ranked number 8 when they came to San Antonio. Now, not even in the discussion in terms of national rankings. That's the second free pass issued by Nix. First and second base now full. But despite that, the Tigers boast one of the top 5 schedules in the country in terms of overall strength. But it could have been so much more had the teams that we expected to do well, and had they lived up to our expectations and continued as the preseason polls would have had it. So Nick's in a bit of a self-induced jam here. A couple of walks. Runners go as they look to run on Hester, who's not had much action behind the plate this season. They're successful in grabbing third there. So Kastner advances from first to third now, the leadoff man. Nick's ahead in the count here, 1-2. He's up against Daniel Enciso, the DH. Runners on second and third. And the senior's 1-2 pitch. It's going to be sent at Dallas Bender. He knocks it down, throws across, and Vonderar gets the out. So a big stretch there from a guy who we've only recently seen start to take up that position at first base. Started the season as a left fielder. He doesn't have the biggest of frames, but he did extremely well there to hold on to that one and keep the foot on the base. So that's a big second out for Holden Nix. Now he just needs to worry about Robert Lopez, the catcher. Junior native of San Antonio. Transfer from the University of the Incarnate Word. That one gets away from Hessler, who's just making his 5th appearance of the season. Majority of them coming in games where the Tigers had a doubleheader and they wanted to give Goodrich a day off. But even then, it's been John Tucker who's preferred to Hessler for the majority of the season as the backup. Tucker not in the lineup today. He's been utilized at first, third, and behind the plate. But he's amongst the names that are on the bench today for head coach Tim Scannell. Knicks here ahead in the count 1-2. Chance to get out of this first inning. Takes the signs from Hessler. Comes set. Shoulder shrug and the pitch is popped foul. That one gets well out of play. So Lopez battling here with a couple of runners in scoring position. A chance to take the lead early. Our Lady of the Lake scored first in the matchup between these two teams on March 19th, but it wasn't until the 3rd inning when they grabbed the opening run. Chance here early on. That one comes in above the letters for Knicks. The count's even at 2-2. And the story in that game, as I'm sure I'll continue to touch on through the night, is just how many times the Tigers issued free passes, and it's already emerged here once again. A combination of 9 walks and hit batters for Our Lady of the Lake meant that they stuck with the Tigers all the way to the end, including putting up a late rally with only 5 hits in the game. But Nix comes in, gets his strikeout there, and gets out of the jam that he created for himself with a couple of walks. So we'll see the Tiger bats for the first time in a little bit of a different lineup when we come back here on the Tiger Network.
Yeah. Like curly dark hair. That's her. Yeah. She does. Yeah. She participates a lot. I wish I could do that. Be a freshman? Oh, then yeah, probably. Oh my god, if I took a gap year between like high school and college, I just wouldn't go to college. Like a couple of my friends are doing that, and I'm like, okay. Like, I hope you actually go to college at some point. You're not gonna want to. Yeah. I feel like if you go to Trinity, you kind of have to somewhat like school. Wow, so cool. But, like, I don't even know what I would do in a gap year. Like, I would have to like work or something. I don't know. Yeah. No, I wouldn't want to stay at home. I'd like definitely go to like some other country, but like I would have to be doing something. Otherwise, I would just feel really unproductive. Oh yeah, for sure. I want to go to what's it? There's a really good business program.
It's going to be Mason Meredith leading off for the Tigers in this Tuesday night game. The lineup includes Meredith to lead off, Jake Martin out and right hitting second, Rafe Shamet, the left fielder, third, Dallas Bender, the cleanup hitter, and over at third base. Jack Vonderar, the first baseman, fifth. Scott Peterson returns to the lineup in the sixth spot. Brendan Caraway, the DH, in the seventh spot. Brian Hessler, who we mentioned, the catcher for the day, is the eight hitter. And Michael Montresa playing second base rounds off the order for Tim Scannell. So plenty of new names. We already saw Holden Nix on the mound for the first time this season. It's the first start for Hessler, first start for Montresa. And it's the first time we've seen Mason Meredith at the top of the order since, one of the opening series to start the year. I was looking through my scorebook in between innings to try to see if I had a game in this one where Meredith led off, and I don't. So it was at least before the TLU series, but he has done it at some point, as official as that doesn't sound. He's got a 3-2 count here. And the delivery from Ramsey gets the Tigers' leadoff hitter down swinging. Man on the mound for the Saints is Ryan Ramsey. He's actually got the loss in the first matchup between these two teams. The Grapevine native has a 3-2 record, 4.5 ERA. And in a lineup that is full of guys that pitch and play in the field, and it's just full of guys in general for Our Lady of the Lake. He's about middle of the pack in terms of appearances and in terms of ERA for head coach Brian Awney. He's pitched a total of 34 innings, went 2 2/3 against the Tigers, gave up 3 runs, only one of which was earned. All of those coming in the 6th inning. Tigers thought they would have gone out in front to stay. They added one in the 8th, which saw them outlast the late 9th inning comeback in which the Saints put up a couple of runs before they finally went down in what was a 5-4 Tiger triumph. And with games like these, this one more than ever when it's a team that's not even in the same division, the NAIA, Our Lady of the Lake. It's only a big game if the Tigers don't win, as they go down on strikes for the second time to start the game. If they do their job, everyone looks at it and says, yep, checked off another box. And we head into Belton and then into the next SCAC series. But if it becomes a situation like when the University of Chicago came in and upset the Tigers in 10 innings, it turns eyes, and the Tigers were ranked number 1 at that point, and that was part of a 4-game skid that saw them fall down to where they are currently at number 4. The Tigers very much expected to win, but that kind of plays into the hands of Our Lady of the Lake, who won another crack at this Tiger team. They were, just a hit or two away from at least taking it to extra innings in that 9th inning rally, and only ended up falling by 1 run. Here's the Tigers' number 1 at the plate. He's got a 2-0 count. And looking to get something started here with 2 outs. He leads the team in batting average, the .410 mark. And we saw him go yard for the first time all season in the series finale. Keep getting those words mixed up, against Austin College last weekend. The 2-1. And it's going to be chopped down the first base line. Shamet is on his horse, but the nice backflip from the glove into the awaiting glove of Ryan Ramsey sees him get out of the inning in 1-2-3 fashion. A couple of strikeouts and the put out over at first, and the Tigers go quietly. We'll be right back with you here for the 2nd inning. You're watching the Tiger Network. So I hope you enjoyed that inning of work from Holden Nix, because that's all we'll see from him tonight. Comes in for his first appearance of the season, coming back from injury, and walks a couple, strikes out a couple, and gets out of the first inning. It's now Matt Thomas on the mound as a diving play is attempted there by Scott Peterson. He came up with the ball, then when he looked to transfer it into the throwing hand, was unable to do anything with it. That'll go down as an infield single for Martinez. Alec Martinez on first. It's Matt Thomas who grabbed the win in the first matchup between these two teams. There you see his one win on the record. Gave up in, I believe, 3 innings of work, 2 hits, 1 earned run, 5 strikeouts, and 3 walks plus hit batters. He's already allowed 1 hit here. I've already mentioned the Saints only had 5 in the entirety of the 9 innings. First time these two teams matched up. Miloff, the lefty, put that one into a potential double play situation. And instead, the Tigers will just get the 1 out, as it's a good play made by Montresa at second. And what could have gone potentially for another infield hit ends up going as a fielder's choice. The runner advances to second, but Miloff heads back to the dugout. Vonderar was diving there to try and make the stop, potentially turn 2. He was kind of impeded by the run of Martinez. It was in the base path, nothing you can do about that. And here's freshman infielder Jacob Monteano. San Antonio native steps in. One of quite a few locals in the Our Lady of the Lake lineup. This one is pop foul. So it'll be interesting to see if we'll see any more of Holden Nix as they look to kind of work him back in. Or if it's almost like a courtesy start to the senior who, potentially could have taken that medical red shirt, but he's decided he wants to stick around for this season. And this one is put out into left field. It's going to be ranged over by Meredith. And he's comes up throwing to ensure the runner doesn't tag and move over. So there's a fly out for Monteano. There's 2 down here in the second. The number 9 hitter now, Ryan Chapa, comes to the plate. Looks like he's going to hit here from the left side. The left-handed second baseman, that's a rarity. You don't see that very often. You don't see very many lefties at all, especially at the Division III level. But for him to be playing second base, not the most conventional thing. There's the number 1 on his back here, awaits the first pitch from Matt Thomas. And it's in there for a strike. Thomas has 7 appearances. Only one of those was a start. That was way back against Birmingham Southern in the 5-4 victory to end that series. And this one is put out into the outfield. We'll see if Shamet can make the play, and it looks like he will. Coming in at full pelt there, the left fielder. So despite a leadoff single from Martinez, Matt Thomas comes in. He's able to make fairly quick work of the Saints here in the top of the second. We'll head to the bottom of the inning. We'll be right back with you as the Tigers come to bat.
bottom of the second inning, leading off for the Trinity Tigers. Third baseman number 17, Dallas Miller.
After the Tigers went quietly to start in the first inning, they'll have 4, 5, 6, 2 up. Bender, Vonderar, and Scott Peterson. Still Ryan Ramsey on the mound for the Saints. Bender's slowly grown into his role here in his senior season. He started as a role player, very much so, a pinch hitter off the bench. And it was MJ Metz who was the starting third baseman. And as we've worn on here in the 2019 season, it's been Bender returned to the lineup. And you have to say a majority of that is because of his because of his offense. He struggled at times defensively, but contributed at the plate fairly regularly since coming into the lineup. Some consistency. He's behind in the count here, 1-2. The Tigers don't have a good view of the ball, I don't think, with Ramsey. They're struggling to find it coming out of his hand. Here is the 1-2. And there's another instance of it. That's already strikeout number 3 for Ramsey. And it's not the first time the Tigers have seen him. He went 2 2/3 against them earlier this season. So we'll see what a left-handed batter can do now against the righty on the mound. It's Jack Vonderar, another one who we didn't see for a long period of time in the middle of the season. Starting to come back into the fold here for Tim Scannell. These Tuesday games are, quite frequently used as such to give guys that aren't consistent starters some game time action, particularly on the mound. But maybe Vonderar as the first baseman. It does add another left-handed bat to the lineup. Maybe that's the long-term vision here for the Tigers. Saw him use him there in the SCAC series against Austin College. Still seems like a team that has some things they need to figure out as we head into the crunch time bit of the season. This one's grounded over towards second base. And that one will be out number 2 for Vonderar. Now there's talent in the Tiger lineup, top to bottom. Everybody that makes this team every season has the ability to play at this level. But putting together the right 1 through 9, finding your rotation in terms of starting pitching, relieving pitching, that's why they paid head coach Tim Scannell the relatively big bucks. So difficult to find the right chemistry, to find the right group of players that work well together. Recently, he's found this man at the plate now, Scott Peterson. Who, after the struggles of Jack Wisniewski, came in a couple of weeks ago, and he's had an incredibly hot start to his college career. Still hitting at a 600 pace despite going 1 for 4 in his last game. He's got 15 official at-bats, 3 walks as well. And 9 hits for 4 RBI. So a couple of shortstops, a couple of sophomore shortstops, and Wisniewski and Peterson battling it out for that spot in the middle of the infield. Wisniewski was one of the standout players offensively against the Saints team last time. He went 3 for 4 with a couple of doubles and a couple of RBI. But we won't see him, at least from the start today. Wisniewski appeared to have broken out of what was a 22 at-bat hitless streak in the season finale against Austin College. He grabbed a couple of singles in that one. He'll return to the bench tonight. We may see him tomorrow against UMHP. All kinds of moving pieces in deciding who plays today, tomorrow, who we won at the weekend, as Peterson is the latest strikeout victim. He'll head down to first base, but no mistake from the battery duo. And the Tigers have struck out 4 times here already, and we're through 2 innings. We'll be right back with you on the Tiger Network for the top of the third.
Our Lady of the Lake 0, Trinity 0. Top of the third inning for Our Lady of the Lake. Top of the order, shortstop number 6, TJ Kastner.
Thomas continues on the mound here in the third for the Tigers. We back up to the top of the order for Our Lady of the Lake. TJ Kastner reached with a leadoff walk against the starter Holden Nix. And he's put this one out into right field. That's going to drop in front of Jake Martin. So he's on base for the second time tonight. And that's the third time now through 3 innings that the Saints have got the leadoff man on base. Yet to get him around to score a run. We'll see. They stranded a runner in scoring position in each of the first 2 frames. Here's Jacob Mitchell, who went down swinging against Holden Nix in the first. It's interesting, the stat website for Our Lady of the Lake has a breakdown per inning of how they've scored throughout the entire season, and the majority of their season has been 7-inning games. So you have to keep that in mind, but their most prolific innings this season so far have been the first, which the Tigers survived, and the 7th, where they average .77 runs per game in the 7th. Average 4.78 runs per game overall. Andrear applies the tag there on the throwback to first. Nothing doing for Kastner. Saw him already steal once, steal a third. He goes here, and there's going to be no throw as he ends up staying put at first base, relying on that runner call from the dugout. Looks like he changed his mind, or is just playing mind games with Hassler behind the plate. Thomas comes set. Count is 1-1. And that one comes in outside. And And there is strike number 2 as Hessler fires back to Thomas. And I think a key for the Tigers, I already talked about it in brief earlier, but not issuing free passes, especially hit by pitches, excuse me. There were 5 for Our Lady of the Lake on that in that March 19th matchup. 4 walks to go alongside it. And that's how you get a number like 11 left on base for the Saints and only 5 hits. So they at least made Kastner earn it with the leadoff single here. Likewise in the second with Martinez. Runner does go this time with 2 strikes, but it's fouled back by Jacob Mitchell. Light jog back to first for Kastner. Quick check of the runner in the second edition of the 2-2 pitch here. We'll wait on a throw over to first. Leadoff man certainly a threat to run. He's already done it tonight. Stole a base on March 19th as well. That one looked almost pitch out-esque there for Thomas as he threw it right into the chest of Hessler. So we'll have a payoff pitch here. You feel it's a chance to get the inning under control, or perhaps for it to begin to spiral. Time is called by Mitchell at the plate. Thomas had an extremely quick second inning, and that is ball 4. Looks like it won't be more of the same here in the third. There's 2 on with nobody out. And the danger man at the plate now, Jose Diaz. He's got a .305 average and 131 at-bats. Walked his first time up in this game. Leads the team in RBI with 27. A couple of homers as well. The Cuban digs in from the right side of the plate. Shows bunt, looking to advance those 2 runners. Ciso waits on deck. He grounded out his first time up. Diaz went 0 for 2 with a walk, a hit by pitch, and a strikeout in the first matchup between these 2 teams. And the bunt is laid down. This is a good bunt down the third base line, fielded by Bender. And that's going to be trouble. It looks like they say Diaz was out there at first. But nonetheless, it is still trouble. There's runners on second, third here with just the 1 out. So you see Bender with a clean throw. Cross to first, and it's extremely close there. You see what the opinion of the first base coach was. Bang, bang play. Goes in favor of the Tigers, who now have 1 out in the inning. But a couple of runners to think about on second and third. Here's Enciso. Backstop for the Saints. Takes ball 1. Same situation the Saints had in the first inning. Same batter at the plate as well. Runners at second and third, and Ciso at the plate, Lopez on deck. They went down in order. They get a second chance here. And a chance against a different man on the mound in Matt Thomas. Thomas gets a big swinging strike there. He's ahead in the count 1 and 2. Matt Thomas, a name synonymous with internet fame more so than potential, big performances on the mound. Had that week a couple of weeks ago where he went viral multiple times for different incidents. Both the wardrobe malfunction on the mound, the slip in the dugout. Just wasn't his week, but it's good to see him back doing his day job on the mound. As to what you see from Matt Thomas after dark, nobody knows. Here's the 2-2 pitch, and this one is lined right at Bender. It gets through, and that'll be the first run of the game. Potential for 2 here as the throw is going to come home, but it'll be cut off. So 2 runs come across for the Saints. They take the early lead here in the 3rd inning. That single placed comfortably out in left field. Nothing Shemet could do about the second run coming across. It's an early deficit for the Tigers, and they're still not anywhere near being out of this inning. Another throw over to first. So Diaz stands on second base. He reached on the single off the bunt attempt. And Ciso now at first. Grabbed a couple of RBI just moments ago. Runners going to third. And Hessler's tough night continues here as the runners seem to be taking free bases left and right. Here's a look at the steal attempt at third base. Hessler, he's not done poorly there. He's popped up, he's got behind the batter and fired down to the hot corner. Bender applies the tag immediately, and it's just the speed of Jose Diaz the Tigers can't quite deal with. So runners at the corners here, and Ciso stayed put on the steal attempt. They check him there. It's clearly in the head of Matt Thomas, who has no outs here in the 3rd. The situation of runners going is problematic for the Tigers catcher. And here's another one that's barreled up and put out into left field. That'll score the 3rd run. And the throw will go to third base to prevent the runner advancing. But a nightmarish inning continues for Matt Thomas. Runners on first and second. Still nobody out here in the 3rd. As that's Rafe Shemet's throw. Thomas backing up. Third baseman, but the damage is done, and it's still potentially maybe more here. They're going to make a pitching change in the 3rd.
Now pitching for Trinity, number 44, Brandon Hance.
So we'll tell you about the new man on the mound. The Tigers look to regroup here. They're down 3-0 with a couple of guys on. Nobody out here in the top of the 3rd. So one junior from Arizona for another. Brandon Hance comes in for Thomas. A couple of runners he attributed to Thomas still out there on the base pass. You see Hance's stats on the season. He hasn't appeared since the game at Dallas, spring break, March 17th. He went 1 2/3 in that one and gave up just the one hit. Also walked a guy in every appearance he's made so far this season. But it's a relatively small sample size, just his third time on the mound for Tim Scannell this year. Appeared twice as a freshman, including a start, which he got the loss in the 16-17 campaign. In 2018, made 6 appearances. Also had 1 start and 1 loss. An ERA of just 3.75 at a respectable mark. And he comes into this one with an ERA of just 2.08. These are the type of games where you see guys that are on the fringes. They make a name for themselves and they work their way into contention for potentially bigger matchups. But he's tasked here with just putting out the fire in the 3rd inning. Third inning on the season, actually the weakest inning, 1 through 7 for the Saints, but they've shown up here in full voice. Chance here with two strikes, to finally get the first out of the 3rd inning. And instead it's going to be lined right back up the middle. Big throw incoming from Mason Meredith. We'll see if it gets to Hessler in time. And instead, it's the 4th run for the Saints. Just can't stop the bleeding here in the 3rd inning. Runner advanced to 3rd on the throw home. Which came in way offline. It was cut off. See what Matt Mieloff can do now, batting from the left side. Conroe, Texas native, grounded into a fielder's choice in the 2nd inning. It looked like Matt Thomas had something going. Fell apart when he came out here in the 3rd. And his last runner is the man on 3rd base. It's Robert Lopez. Big swing and a miss. We're into the bottom of the order now. Matt Mieloff, the 7-hitter. Monteano, the 8, and Chapa, the 9. And the Tigers would certainly trade potential double play ball here for the 5th run. A couple of big swinging misses, though, for Mieloff. It was the 3rd inning where they fell behind in the last matchup, but that was just the 1 run, which they found in the bottom of the 4th to tie it up. The only potential positive for this big rally from a Tiger perspective is that Ryan Ramsey, the pitcher for Our Lady of the Lake, who'd been dealing with real momentum, has been forced to sit and wait for quite a long time. As there's strike 3 and a potential throw home here. And that's the 4th run that comes across. So the play obviously put on there all kinds of distractions for Hessler, who threw down, and the throw came back to him after it was offline. There's potential to get the guy coming home, but it was well executed for the Saints. Get another look at it. He waits, sees the throw, and immediately takes off. And there's certainly a play at the plate, but a couple of missed opportunities there for out number 2. They finally do get the out, though. They've been desperate for here in the 3rd on the strikeout of Mieloff. And there's strike number 1 against Jacob Monteano. He flew out to Mason Meredith, his first time up. Just the one runner on second. That's Alec Martinez. And after giving up a couple of consecutive hits since coming in, looks like Hans may have settled in. Don't want to speak too soon, but he started to find the strike zone at the very least. Now Matt Thomas' ERA won't think too kindly of that. But here's the 0-2 pitch. This is for ball number 1. Our Lady of the Lake already 1 run better than they were in the entirety of the last matchup with Trinity. They've got 5 here in the third as the throw will come down third baseline once again, and Hessler is just unable to compete with the runners. They get strike 3 though. Strike 3 comes in. Good work on the camera to catch the play at third. Wasn't even really close as Martinez advances. Strikeout number 4 for Tiger pitching there. And here's the number 9 hitter, Ryan Chapa. He flew out to Rafe Shamet to end the second inning. He's got a chance to even further extend the lead here with a man 90 feet away on third base. Hessler does a good job there to make sure that one doesn't hit the backstop. That one fouled off the right shin of Chapa, the left-handed batter. And that one comes off the umpire here. A potential play at the plate again. Run number 6 plated here in the third inning. See, it's most likely going to be scored as a wild pitch. That's the first runner credited to Brandon Hance. And Chapa all kinds of in the way there on the replay, but looked like it was a fairly straightforward call for the umpire, who was involved a couple of times. Ball came off him first, and there's ball 4 to the number 9 hitter, Chapa. So we're back to the top of the order as the Saints bat around here in the third. Kastner's reached base both times, a walk and a single that kicked off what has been tragedy for the Tigers here in the third inning. There's strike number 1 for Hance. It's the risky run when you give guys, significant time in these Tuesday night, Wednesday night matchups that don't get to play outside of those inter-squad scrimmages in practice. The nerves will certainly be there, and the inexperience at times as well. The Holden Nix experiment worked to start out this game, got him an inning of work, and escaped unscathed, but it's the third inning here where it's all unraveled as that one gets to the backstop past Hessler. Our Lady of the Lake with more hits and more runs than they had in the entirety of the first matchup between these two teams this year. And they've got another runner in scoring position. One of their best hitters at the plate. Kastner takes ball 3. Hans needs this one here. The 3-1 gets a swinging strike, so it'll be a payoff pitch to potentially get out of this marathon inning. Hans does come set, and he gets strike 3, so relief for the Tigers after what was a nightmarish top of the third. They give up 6 runs on 5 hits, no errors, and they leave just the 1 on second base. The damage was certainly done here. We'll see what the Tigers have in response. It'll be the bottom of the order. Caraway, Hessler, and Montresa due up. We'll be right back with you. Hope you'll stick with us here on the Tiger Network.
Pitching for Our Lady of the Lake, the 36 Lane Foster. Even off the bottom of the third inning for the Trinity Tigers. Designated hitter number 3, Ryan Carrier.
So the Tigers looking to respond in a big way here in the bottom of the third. No hits through their first 6 batters. And if you want anybody to get on, at least recently, it's been Brandon Caraway, who you'd want as your man. His on-base percentage up there near the top of the charts for this Tiger team. And he leads off here in the bottom of the third. Ryan Ramsey, the man on the mound for the Saints, was forced to really sit and wait for quite a while as he watched his team put up run support. And that can go one of 2 ways, really. You can feel the confidence. You're already pitching well, as that one's shot into the Tiger dugout. And you can feel even more confident now that you have a 6-run lead. Or you can lose your rhythm and feel a bit too comfortable with the big lead and start to allow hits to pile up. I think that's why they've opted to go to the bullpen with Lane Klosterman. Got 2 innings of work out of Ramsey as this one is chopped towards the second baseman, bobbled by Chapa, but the throw beats Caraway to the bag for out number 1. So opting to go with Klosterman out of the pen. I don't want to risk any maleffects of the long wait for Ramsey. He gets 2 perfect innings against the top of the Tiger lineup. It might feel a bit hard done by unless it was something previously scheduled to be pulled out of the game, pitching the way he was. He got 4 strikeouts and a couple of ground outs through 2. And here's Brian Hessler, who's been certainly involved so far on the defensive half for the Tigers. Struggled to get any putouts in terms of runners going on him. See what he can contribute here at the plate. That one comes off the bat of Hessler. Looks like maybe it's just not his night here as he gets his first start of the season. Bit of bad luck there once again. It counts 1-1. But a theme as of late for head coach Tim Scannell is trying out some different left-handed bats in the lineup. We see Vonderar coming back in, Peterson in for Wisniewski, so there's a righty in for a lefty. Carraway has been a regular in the lineup. Now Hessler. Then your regulars like Shamet. There's the third ball from Klosterman. What many would consider the Tigers' first choice lineup really only has a couple of left-handed batters. This one's grounded towards first base, and the Tiger catcher is retired. Swinging there on the 3-1 pitch. So maybe that's a potential reason for all of the change as of late. Here's Montresa playing tonight for Logan Morrison, who's out of the lineup for a second game in a row. The freshman, just the latest of a long line of Tigers from California. He's a native of Los Gatos. He takes strike 1. Just be interesting to see when it's all said and done and we head towards conference tournament time, or even just in the SCAC matchups next couple of weekends, which lefties are in the lineup for Tim Scannell and to what extent is he comfortable with a majority right-handed lineup against, what's a majority of right-handed pitching at the Division III level. To what extent do you just put your best guys out there and say, go hit the ball? Baseball is so much about stats, and sometimes that can overshadow the reality of things. All these narratives developing as the season wears on. The most immediate one, though, is the fact that the Tigers are down 6-0 to a team they haven't lost to over the last couple of seasons. And Montresa puts this one in play on the 0-2 pitch. It's grounded towards shortstop, and he runs hard, but he's unable to get there in time. So Tigers still yet to record a hit through 3 innings. They're down 6-0 as we head into the 4th. You're watching the Tiger Network.
fourth inning leading off number 39, Jacob Mitchell.
So it's Jacob Mitchell with Hance still on the mound. Mitchell 0 for 1 with a walk. Struck out his first time up. Tigers looking to bounce back from the nightmarish third inning. They gave up the 6 runs. Hance responsible for just the 1, but he watched 3 go by since he came in to pitch. It's a big swing and a miss that time from the first baseman. Count now level at 2-2. For Hance on the mound, he really needs to find some type of rhythm here and get the Tiger bats up there again as soon as possible. Yet to record a hit first time through the lineup. And I think the top of the order will be itching to get another go at, well, it won't be Ramsey, but it'll be Klosterman, presumably, coming out for bottom half of this inning. But as we saw in the third, you got to get there. And here's the payoff pitch to the first batter, and it goes for a walk. So Hance had the advantage in that count, ends up losing it, and that brings up Jose Diaz. 1 for 1 on the day with a walk and a bunt single. Native of Cuba stands in from the right side with the open stance. There's a quick throw over to first base. Nothing doing there for Mitchell. Hessler continues behind the plate. Perhaps feeling the ghost of Michael Goodrich, who's standing over in the dugout right now. He had a big offensive day last time against Our Lady of the Lake as well. Went 3 for 4 with a walk and scored a run. This one's sent down the left field line. It'll be fielded by Chamet at the second time of asking here. He comes up with the big throw to third base, but the run's going to come all the way around to score from first. So Mitchell running hard and taking advantage of a miscue out in left. And the miscues continue for the Tigers as the run advances to third. And quite frankly, don't know what to say here. The Tigers just have nothing going for them, but it almost seems like they aren't fully turned on. Even the big players like Chamet out in left, who never misplays this ball. Misplays this ball, allows the run to score, and in throwing home, allows the runner to advance to third base. Goes as a double for Diaz, who advances to third on a throwing error by Scott Peterson officially. And this one is fielded by Bender. Needs to get this one right, and he does. The runner also goes home, and Hessler unable to field that one. So it's 8-0 to the Saints here, as Diaz comes in. But at least out number 1 recorded here in the fourth. I mean, this looks like a team in Our Lady of the Lake who's come here with absolutely nothing to lose. No fear of this Tiger team. They've run all over particularly Brian Hessler. And even, the big guns like Shamet out and left, unable to get the man coming home, and runners advancing all over the place, and Tiger pitchers unable to, get strikes when they need them. This inning started out with a walk. But when a team like this comes in with nothing to lose, you see him playing with freedom, running with freedom, as this one sent high out into shallow left field. Peterson calls everybody off and makes the catch for out number 2.
How about in the third base number 9, Alec Martinez?
And I kind of led this one off by saying it's only a big game if the Tigers don't win in the complexion of their season, but now it's a big game. You're down 8-0 and you need to battle back. You've got at least 6 times left going to the plate. And the magnitude just continues to grow every time Our Lady of the Lake plates another one of their runners. Hance here has a 0-2 lead in the count. He's about to throw his 40th pitch of the night. And this one sent out into center field. Coming in on it now is Meredith, and making the grab is the center fielder. So Martinez flies out to end the 4th, but Our Lady of the Lake grabs a couple more, and they lead 8-0. The Tiger Bats come up here, top of the order, when we come back. Hope you'll stay with us.
Bottom of the 4th inning, leading off at the top of the order. Center fielder number 15, Mason Meredith.
So back to the top of the order here as the Tigers look to hit the reset button. Down 8-0 and yet to record a hit. Klosterman continues on the mound. He relieved for Ramsey in the 3rd. Tigers look to get something going here. Anything will do. And that will do as the pitch comes in. And the Tigers have their first base runner of this game. Looks like it came off the elbow of Meredith. And Jake Martin now digs in. He went down swinging his first time up. You see his remarkable season he's having statistically. Tigers need some of that right now from just about everybody 1 through 9 in the lineup. No moves to the bench yet for head coach Tim Scanlon, sticking with those that got him in this situation. Now pitching from the stretch is Klosterman. See what he has. The first runner on base for the Tigers in this one. Check of Meredith at first. And this one is shot right at the third baseman. Throw back to first. And they get Meredith as well. So they double up the Tigers here off the bat of Jake Martin. It's a bit of Murphy's Law in effect here for the home team. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong. See if Shamet is the one to get the first hit for this Tiger team. You know, I'm really doing my best to just continue to emphasize how we have no hits so that we'll finally get one. That one comes in way inside on the Tiger left fielder. Saw him go yard for the first time with a big 3-run home run in the last game. And this one is chopped down the first base line. It goes foul before it can be reached by Mitchell, to the relief of Shamet. And you know, I'm no expert on the locker room dynamics of this team, but at least offensively, Rafe Shamet is a leader in this Tiger baseball team, and the leaders are the ones you need to step up in situations like this where everything's going wrong. Can Shamet, you know, even if he gets a hit and the inning ends shortly after, at least show the guys that it is possible on a night like tonight where it's just seems to be going so poorly. Baseball is such an interesting game in terms of things like leadership, where really you don't play together at all offensively. It's a one-on-one matchup every time, but at the same time, you know, dynamics carry across hitters. Things like belief can lift an entire team, and this team needs lifting. Down 8-0. Shamet will step out here as the payoff pitch will be on its way momentarily. He'll be protecting his strike zone. First time he's not hitting into a shift in quite a long time. That may be relief for him. We'll see as he goes down swinging. So the early hit batter is erased by a Jake Martin blind double play, and then Shamet goes down on strikes to in the fourth. Somber viewing for Tiger fans. It's 8-0 here to Our Lady of the Lake.
Bottom of the fifth inning, leading off for Our Lady of the Lake. Right fielder number 29, Matt Mahalo.
So bottom of the order due up for the Saints. Trinity in need of something quick here. Maybe get it some form of momentum going. There's been nothing going for him so far, even when they got a base runner in the bottom of the fourth. He was immediately eliminated by a double play. Hance continues on the mound. He's the third pitcher for the Tigers this evening. And this one's sent out into right foul. Plenty of distance on that one though from Miloff. Has the golden locks flowing out from underneath the blue helmet. Fouls that one straight back to stay alive. And he lines this one foul again down the right field line. And speaking of Goldilocks, it's like he's trying these pitches out. Too hot, too cold. Will he find one that's just right here? Fourth edition of the 1-2 pitch. And that one is just right for Hance on the mound. It sends Miloff back to the dugout. So there's out number one. That's the first time the Tigers have recorded the first out of the inning against the leadoff man. It's now Jacob Monteano, the left fielder. During a rough start to his collegiate career, gets a vote of confidence here from his manager. Stuck him out in left field. He's 0 for 2 so far tonight. That one comes in at the letters. Hance now thrown 50 pitches in relief. It was Holden Nix who started this game for the Tigers. He went a scoreless inning, something that seems long, long ago in the mind of Tiger fans. But he grabbed a couple of strikeouts in addition to a couple of walks. This one's popped into foul territory. Shamet ranging over, and that was a strange play. It stayed playable, but there was really not much effort made by Shamet to try and bring it in. He was running hard right at it, but the glove didn't even come out there. Anyway, Holden Nix the starter, and then Thomas came in, worked another scoreless inning in the second, as you know, that ball's in reach for Shamet. I think he's more concerned about crashing into the fence, as Monteano puts another one foul. And then it all unraveled in the third. Thomas gave up 4, and then Hance relieved, still with nobody out. Gave up a couple more before he got the bottom of the order in succession. Bottom of the order has gone in succession twice, and they are 2/3 of the way there now for the Saints here in the 5th. A couple of strikeouts start off this 5th inning for Hance. In the 4th, they added 2 more. And here we are at 8-0 for the visiting team. Last year, the Tigers took both games, including one at Our Lady of the Lake, which they won 4-2, and one at home April 23rd, which they won 7-2. This 8-run spot, the most Our Lady of the Lake has ever scored against Trinity in what's been a fairly frequent matchup across the last 5 or so seasons. The game's usually close, and if that's going to be the case here tonight, the Tiger offense really needs to get something going. It's been a good inning of work thus far from Hans, and as I say that, he puts one towards the backstop, so it's a 3-1 count. Visitors representing the NAIA Red River Athletic Conference. Got an 11-7 record in conference, a 20-21 mark overall. The 3-1 is ball 4, so a chance to potentially retire the side in order. Goes begging here for Hans. So it's going to be TJ Kastner. Struck out to end that now infamous 3rd inning. So he's 1 for 2. Also has a walk back in the 1st. Looks like Hans is going to be the guy for the foreseeable. There's not much going on over in the Tiger bullpen. Somebody just walked in, but don't think they're going to be throwing. This one goes to Montresa, and the Tigers get out of the 5th with no more damage done by Our Lady of the Lake. They still lead by 8. It's 8-0 here, heading into the bottom of the 5th. You're watching the Tiger Network.
For the Tigers, 3rd baseman number 17, Dallas Linder.
It's just like.
So another new man on the mound for Our Lady of the Lake. Their first 2 guys have each gone 2 innings, and they've each faced the minimum, so no pressure for Joey Baker coming in, but the president has been set so far. Native of Cuero, Texas, is the first lefty that the Tigers will face, and that one is sent out to shortstop, and an incredible play is made over there by Kastner. Wouldn't mind seeing that one again from the shortstop, as it's shot out by Bender toward him. Well, that wasn't Bender, though. That was Nathaniel Preet. He was pinch hitting. Hit the ball hard, but was prevented from reaching first by an incredible play from Kastner. So there's the first inkling of maybe head coach Tim Scannell going towards his bench, looking to get something going for his offense. Didn't work out that time, but we'll see if he continues to try and do so. Some big names wait on the bench. Your Michael Goodrich, maybe Logan Morrison. These guys that you rely on day in, day out, who you've given the day off today. Can you afford to bring them in with, the amount of games coming up, heading into the stretch of the season? This one's sent down the line by Von der Aar fairly weakly. Big arm from Martinez at third. And you can just see the energy coming off of Mitchell every time he grabs the ball, throws it around the horn. Just so much momentum in favor of the Saints. And it's not going to be Scott Peterson. There's going to be another pinch hitter here. It's Momsen for the Tigers. Cade Momsen, the freshman catcher, making his collegiate debut here at this at-bat. 2 outs in the bottom of the 5th. Be interesting to see how the Tigers rework their lineup, at least defensively, coming out for the top of the 6th. Preet, who came in for Bender, who was at third, is listed as an infielder on the roster. Momsen listed as a catcher, but he's in for Peterson, who is playing at short. So see what kind of shuffling they do to permit this decision making at the plate. We'll also see what Momsen can do. It's our first look at him in a Tiger uniform. The count's now 2-2. And the 2-2 from Baker is outside. Be the payoff pitch here to Momsen in his collegiate debut. And we'll see at least one more look for the first year as he fouls that one off towards the Our Lady of the Lake dugout. Interrupts the party over there. And the payoff pitch is going to be ball 4. So congratulations to Momsen, who reaches base. He's only the second wow, that was poor for me. He's the only the second Tiger to do so here through 4 2/3. And that was in his collegiate debut. So Caraway remains in the lineup. He was listed as a designated hitter. We'll see if that continues or if maybe he comes in to the infield. Tigers look to maybe start scratching away at that 8-run deficit here. The 2-out rally potentially in the 5th. Caraway in a lefty-lefty matchup here with Baker on the mound. Certainly far from orthodox. Comes with the sidearm delivery. And it's times like these where I miss my partner Sam McWhorter, who loves to analyze a pitcher like Baker. We'll see if we see Baker for a second inning as they head back to the dugout full of energy. It's still Our Lady of the Lake 8 and the home team Trinity University nothing on the Tiger Network.
Not pitching for the Tigers, number 29, Brian Cardone. That was 6 inning, leading off 4 on the leading rate. First base number 39, Jacob Mitchell.
So no changes defensively for the Tigers coming out here for the top of the 6th. Peterson remains at short, Bender at third. And as to why that is, well, your guess is as good as mine. They're both pinch hit for in the bottom of the 5th, but they've come back out here. Potentially something to do with the game, taking place not only across conferences but across divisions. NCAA against NAIA tonight. We also have a new pitcher, and that's Brian Cardone. Famous Tiger mustache on the mound. You see his stats on the season. Katy, Texas native, used all over the field for Tim Scannell. First base, third base, on the mound, pinch hitting. He's done quite a bit in terms of plugging gaps this 2019 campaign. Jacob Mitchell at the plate. He was now led off more than Kastner, the leadoff man, so far in this one. This is his 3rd time in 4 at-bats that he's led off. So drawn a couple of walks in true leadoff man fashion. This one he's put into play. It's going to die on the infield grass. And that is a extremely difficult play to make for Montresa. And you feel for him as he's coming in, the ball has absolutely died on the infield grass. And he would have, just gets caught up under his feet. He's coming in hot. And once again, the Saints have the leadoff runner aboard. That one of the more harsh E4s that you'll see, but based off the speed of the ball, the speed of the runner, the play the scorer feels Montresa should have made. Cardone now has to deal with Diaz, who is 2 for 2 with a walk. Despite how it seems like Our Lady of the Lake has just absolutely dominated this game, they're only hitting .261. It's been the 6 Tiger walks. There's a hit by pitch in there as well. They're 0 for 5 with 2 outs. They're only .250 with runners on and runners in scoring position, and yet they find themselves out in front 8-0. And you think, well, what about that 0 for the Tigers? They're 0 for 14. man out in the bullpen can't even make the stop there as it comes off of the fence. That one sent foul by Diaz. The 2-2 pitch from Cardone. That one is sent towards shortstop and just out of the reach of Scott Peterson. So first 2 runners reach here for the Saints in the 6th. Diaz now 3 for 3 and also has a walk, as he has looked every bit like the best player on the field so far tonight. Brings up Daniel Enciso, the designated hitters, 1 for 3 with a 2 RBI single back in the 3rd. That one was actually given as an E5, so technically 0 for 3 on the day for Enciso. Tigers defensively have 4 errors on the night, just to compound. It's been a rough night in all other aspects as well. Cardone behind in this count, 2-0. And here comes the delivery to Enciso. That one in there for a strike. And this one is launched out into right field. Luckily for the Tigers, it won't pose too much of a threat as Martin brings it in. The runner does tag, though, and head to third base. Tigers have out number 1, though, here in the 6th. I think I probably am not the only one that said to myself when that one came off the bat, oh, here we go again. This one's probably heading over the fence the way the night's going. But that one stays in, and the Tigers get out number 1. Chance here to even end the inning with a double play as the runner Diaz is on first. But a chance likewise for Our Lady of Lake to extend the lead with the runner 90 feet away from home plate. We've seen the double steal tactics come out once already for head coach Brian Auney. Some would argue it may be unethical to send your runners in motion 8-0 in front, but against a offense like the Tigers that's been so prolific this season, really no lead should feel safe. That said, it feels very safe tonight. Here's the runners in motion once again. This time the runner doesn't come home, but Diaz does advance. I don't have it in front of me, but I'd love to see how many stolen bases Our Lady of the Lake has in this one. This one is sent high and foul for Lopez. That sounded like it may have hit the camera. We'll go check on that for you. Looks like the picture's still okay. So second, third, and just the 1 out for Our Lady of the Lake here in the 6th. Cardone on the mound. He's got a 2-2 count against Lopez. The official score says 7 stolen bases so far. 3 of them for Diaz, who now stands on second base. The big number, though, 0 in the caught stealing column. There's been no response for the Tigers for the aggressiveness that they've faced on the base pass. And credit to Coach Auntie and to Our Lady of the Lake for recognizing, the Tigers are putting out a bit of a changed lineup. Let's test this guy behind the plate. And it paid dividends so far here into the 6th inning. And there's ball 4 on the payoff pitch from Cardone. So the bases are loaded. Still just 1 out here in the 6th. Alec Martinez, 2 for 3 so far today. See if Cardone stays in. That's pitching coach Dave Smith, who's out and quite frankly looks as disgusted as every Tiger fan probably does. Bender creeps in on the infield grass, maybe looking to overhear what his pitching coach has to say. Pretty lengthy conversation here between the junior and the member of this Tiger staff. Looks like the umpire is going to come break it up. There is movement in the pen for Trinity. Maybe a stall tactic there for Dave Smith. Cardone takes his time retaking the rubber here, as it's Alec Martinez with the bases loaded. First pitch misses for a ball. And during that visit, looks like Guerrero pinch ran for Lopez at first. Eric Tyler Guerrero, technically the batting average leader for Our Lady of the Lake, although he's only got 9 at bats to his name. Hitting over 500. Now running at first base. That one a painful one for Martinez. He fouls it off his own foot. Guerrero, the sophomore from Floresville, Texas graduate of Floresville High School. And this one gets away from Hessler behind the plate. No play for Cardone at home. And the 9th run comes across here for the Saints. Running hard all the way through was Jacob Mitchell. It's his 3rd run scored on the night. It's 2nd and 3rd now in the 6th. And the 2-2 from Cardone on its way. Comes in low. So it'll be yet another payoff pitch here for the junior on the mound. And at risk of sounding like a pessimist, I continue to present the stats to you. So far on the season, Our Lady of the Lake against ranked opposition, which of course comes in the NAIA. So there's something to be said about the differences in level. And personally, I'm not going to claim to be an expert either way, whether it's better or slightly worse as the 10th run comes across. Their record against ranked opponents on the season, 2-8. Those 2 wins coming way back in early February against Central Methodist University, who were number 21 in the NAIA at the time. Not only was that ball 4, but it was a wild pitch, the second of that at bat, which allowed run number 10 to come across for the visiting Saints. Here's a pinch hitter, Xavier Solis. This one is popped up. Looks like it's going to stay playable for Bender. Makes the grab for out number 2. So Alec Martinez walked. And Miloff was pinch hit for. Monteano will stay in the game. Runners at the corners here with 2 outs for Monteano, the freshman. Saints now with a double-digit lead here in the 6th. Brought 2 across, and 1 more just 90 feet away. Cardone's attacked the hitter here, and he's got a advantage in the count, 0-2. And the 0-2 pitch comes in low. Still looking to try and end the inning here. For the Tigers, it'll be 8, 9, and 1 due up. And it's anybody's guess as to who we'll see. Currently Hessler, Montresa, and Meredith, but last inning we saw a couple of pinch hitters. So that one sent to the left side of third base, so it's foul. Wouldn't be surprised to see someone like Meredith come out of the lineup and continue to give more younger guys, first years, some runouts here in a game in which you hate to say it's decided, so we'll say it's all but decided in the 6th. And Cardone bounces that one in on the 1-2 count. After a quick 0-2 advantage, the count's now level. Monteano rocks back and forth, and there's going to be another payoff pitch. The 3rd of the inning for Cardone as another runner advances on the ball, getting away from Hessler. Certainly no play to be made there as Martinez strolls down to second base. Here's the payoff pitch to potentially end the 6th. And it's sent out into the outfield, but it's right at Jake Martin. And the Tigers take a sigh of relief and head to the bottom half of the inning. They'll have 8, 9, and 1 due up. We'll see who comes to the plate for Tim Scannell when we come back. If you're still watching the Tiger Network, we thank you.
Following the sixth leading out for the Tigers, shifter number 22, Brian Hester.
So as was scheduled, it's going to be Brian Hessler due up here to start the sixth. The Tigers look for their first hit of this ball game. They're down double digits here against Our Lady of the Lake in what's been a shock to many, including myself. Tigers took both games from the Saints last season and took one earlier this year on March 19th, 5-4. If you would have said, oh, the Tigers are going to drop one tonight, I would have said, okay, well, maybe it's a closely contested game. We get a good bit of entertainment. And Saints fans certainly have, to say the least. This crosstown matchup with an NAIA opponent. Hessler is going to go down swinging here. You know, maybe the Tigers just need to take a page from Steph Curry's book and invest in a team set of contact lenses. Seems like they're not seeing the ball too well tonight. Montresa digs in from the right side. He's 0 for 1. It's his second time up. Stands high in his stance. And he takes strike number 1 there. The count's level at 1s. Tigers looking forward to a couple of away trips coming up. Tomorrow in Belton against the University of Mary Hardin Baylor. Then a big conference matchup against Southwestern in Georgetown this weekend. The 3-game series is on its way. Montresa puts this one foul to level the count at 2. Of course, during the series we had going on here against Austin College, we had an eye over in Seguin where TLU was matching up against Southwestern. TLU ends up taking that series after dropping game 1. It doesn't exactly play into the hands of the Tigers, who are looking to ensure a #1 seed in the SCAC tournament, but the one game that TLU did drop means the Tigers can at the very least draw a level with conference record, but they would have to sweep Southwestern this weekend. Not out of the realm of possibility, but there's a good Southwestern team that they'll be up against. The rubber match of that series, 10-8 on the Sunday. This one sent down the third base line by Montresa, and he'll reach on a throwing error. So the Tigers have one aboard. Martinez overthrew Mitchell at first. So the Tiger first year stands on first base. I held my breath there for maybe a bit of favorable scoring, but none was to come. So still no hits for the Tigers. And Seth Jones pinch hitting now for Mason Meredith. The Tigers look to prevent injury at the very least for some of their big name players. Eyes to the busy schedule coming up. In other games involving SCAC opponents, Laterno is up 14-7 in the top of the 9th against Austin College. This one's going to get down just on the edge of the infield, and the Tigers have their first hit. Seth Jones comes off the bench to provide. Much to everyone's relief, there will not be a collective no-hitter here in San Antonio. University of Dallas trailing Hardin Simmons 6-2 in the top of the 7th. And in a extremely intriguing matchup. Southwestern taking on the University of Texas Tyler. They're tied up at 7 in the bottom of the ninth. That one doesn't affect conference seeding, but certainly one to keep an eye on. How Southwestern hangs with the team coming off the back of a national championship. They're ineligible to be ranked or to qualify for the postseason this year as they make a transition to Division II athletics in Tyler. That is one of the toughest teams that you can schedule at the Division III level for this season, and Southwestern is hanging with them blow for blow. Chance to win it in the bottom of the ninth for the Pirates. Keep you updated on that one. After sweeping Austin College at the weekend, the Tigers have a 9-3 conference record. They've played 12. Texas Lutherans just played 9, but they have a 6-3 conference record, so they have the ability to, at the very least, level up with the Tigers. Southwestern falls to 5-4 after a couple of defeats on the weekend. As this one's sent out into center field, the runner's going to be tagging here. Play at the plate, and they got him. So the Tigers, some ambitious base running, looking to get on the board, and they're unable to do so. The silver lining, they finally get a hit here in the bottom of the 6th. Seth Jones comes off the bench to do so. But a extremely bleak night for Tiger fans continues to be that way. We'll come back for the top of the 7th here on the Tiger Network. So on the mound for the Tigers, number 48, Los Angeles native Brett Rasick, senior, making his first appearance for the Tigers on the season. Transfer from Loyola, native originally Los Angeles, California. See what he has on offer here in the top of the 7th. There's 2 more runs tacked on in the 6th to make the lead double digits for the visiting Saints. This one is clobbered. We'll see where it goes off the bat of Chapa. And it's going to be brought in by Jake Martin. whose facial expression just about says it all after he brings that one in. It's going to be a pinch hitter, number 16 for Our Lady of the Lake. That is Daniel Melicio, San Antonio native, graduate of the Carlos Beltran Baseball Academy from Puerto Rico. Can't say I've heard of the Beltran Academy. Now I'll have to check that out. Just a quick Google search tells me that it is a private baseball school in Florida, Puerto Rico. Beltran played in the MLB for over 20 years. And the university provides education to local kids in Puerto Rico and brings in those with some talent from abroad, allows them to focus on honing their craft. Melicio, a product of the school, as there's a collision there, but luckily the Tigers are able to bring it in. Vonderar and Montresa exchange a laugh there over what could have just compounded the Tigers' issues here. Ranging from foul territory, Vonderar takes a bump from Montresa and holds on. The intense stare down there from Tigers' first baseman. So a couple quick outs for Rasick here in the 7th. Brings up Jacob Mitchell, who's still swinging, the sophomore for Our Lady of the Lake. First base, a position you really don't want to make too many changes. That one, catcher, probably the 2. Maybe splitting up your middle infielders, not ideal either. That one comes in the dirt from Rasick. So there's a 2-1 count here for the Saints' first baseman. His jersey has come untucked as the lead has progressed. Rasick in danger of losing him here with the 3-1 count. Tigers number 48 comes and deals and gets a foul ball straight back. So it'll be a payoff pitch to potentially end the inning. A right-hander California native comes set, and the payoff pitch is going to be fouled back once again. I was about ready to say strike 3 as I didn't see the ball come off the bat, but we'll hold off potentially to this offering from Rasick to do so. And this one is skied out into left field. Peterson racing back and makes the play. And that, folks, is a 1-2-3 inning for Our Lady of the Lake. It's the first we've seen as Rasick comes in, and he's the most effective pitcher to date for the Tigers. They'll come up with the bats in hand. It's stretch time here in San Antonio. Our Lady of the Lake University leads 10-0. We'll be right back.
leadoff for the Tigers. Left fielder Rafe Schmidt.
So Rafe Schmidt leads off against Alec Martinez, who returns to the game now as a pitcher. And it looks like he moves from third base to pitcher. I thought he'd been pinch hit for, but instead just makes the move across the infield. He'll now stand on the mound against Schmidt. See his pitching stats on your screen. Big strikeout to walk to appearance ratio for the sophomore right-hander. Schmidt, who is 0 for 2. Tigers got their first hit in the bottom of the 6th. Maybe look to do one better here and grab a run. And that one's crushed by Rafe Schmidt, heading back, and it is gone. And somebody watch your windshield. Rafe Schmidt's gone yard for second game in a row.
That's a home run by Rafe Schmidt.
So leadoff solo shot from Schmidt here in the 7th. See who comes up to the plate to follow that. Scheduled to be Preet, but it could also be Bender. Either way, that ball was gone, so a moment of solace for Tiger fans as they get something nice to look at. Schmidt starting to heat up in terms of power. His first 2 home runs come in back-to-back games. Bender's back after taking a quick break and letting Preet hit for him back in the 5th.
Except for the Tigers, third baseman number 17, Dallas Center.
And Bender looked to repeat the feat with a big swing there. But it looks like he's able to beat it out. He'll stay on first base, perhaps without even running extremely hard there towards the end. He seemed to pull up the brakes and wasn't punished as the throw came across. Get another look at it. Big swing, chopped towards third base. You see him start to slow down a couple of steps before he reaches the bag, but either way, he's on first base. And here is Nathan Braulick, another first-year player, getting an appearance here for Tim Scannell. Graduate of Antonian College Prep, makes his second appearance on the season. His first collegiate at bat, and it is going to result in a fielder's choice as Bender's retired at second. He'll head to the dugout. Congratulations nonetheless to Braulick, who gets his first collegiate at bat. Scott Peterson, who also had pinch hitter for him his last time up. That was Momsen. Peterson continues now in the 6th spot. So runner on first, and one out here in the 7th. Tigers trail 10-1 after a leadoff home run here in the 7th by Schmidt. Braulick takes a healthy lead off of first, and the pitch to Peterson comes in at the letters. And Peterson puts this one through the infield, so the Tigers start to string a couple of hits together here in the 7th. Peterson was about due for a hit. He didn't have one in 6 at-bats. After a extremely hot start to his collegiate career, he's now back in the hit column.
Now batting number 24, Adam Drew.
A couple of runners on now for another substitute for Trinity. He shows bunt. It's Adam Jew. Seen him quite a few times as a pinch runner this season, the California native. He's got 3 at-bats. Scored a couple of runs as well. Both of those runs being scored as a pinch runner. Jew shoots this one towards the dugout for the Tigers. He bats from the left side. Potential contributor in a year's time, the outfielder. As we'll see names like Jake Martin depart, graduate. And Jew somehow survives this one. He certainly went around and broke wrists, but I think maybe a bit of sympathy from the umpire allows him to continue. Still 2 strikes for the California native. That one comes in inside, so the count runs to 2-2. 2 runners on. And quite a bit to do here for the Tigers. They've got a couple more trips to the plate after this. If they can get a few back, maybe you feel there's potential for a rally. They've got the bases loaded now with 1 out here in the bottom of the 7th.
Next up for Trinity, the catcher number 23, Ryan Hessler.
Hessler will continue. No pinch hitter for him. He'll get a chance with the bases loaded. He's 0 for 2 so far tonight. Caraway now, I believe, out of the game after Jew pinch hit for him. And it looks like maybe it just wasn't Alec Martinez's night, and they want to stop the bleeding here before it gets any worse for him. We'll see. Looks like head coach Brian Awney is the one that's come out. He's first inspecting the rubber. Is this the same one that our pitchers have been throwing from all night? Looks like it. Martinez soaks in what his coach has to offer. And you know, the optimist would say, chance to cut the lead to 5 here for Hessler with the bases loaded. If he could grab all 4 runs on offer. Montressa would wait on deck, and then the lineup would turn over to Seth Jones or perhaps Mason Meredith. We'll see. Martinez stays in his first offering towards Hessler's a strike. Adam Jew on first, Scott Peterson on second, and Brolick on third. And a swing and a miss there for Hessler. He's behind in the count, 0-2. Chance for a big strikeout here for Martinez. And he gets it, so Hessler goes down rather toothlessly there for the Tigers on 3 pitches. So if the Tigers are to rally here in the bottom of the 7th, it's going to have to be Michael Montressa. They've already got 1 back through the Shamet leadoff home run. They've got the bases loaded here. And the Los Gatos native, who's 0 for 2 on the day, has a chance to make some amends with a swing of the bat here. time, it's the Tiger batter ahead in the count 2-0. And he sends this one out into right field, and it gets out of the glove of Solis. So the Tigers played a couple of runners here, and a potential rally continues in the bottom of the 7th. It's 10-3 now for the visitors. Congratulations to Michael Montress. I believe those are his first RBI as a Tiger player. Indeed, that is the case. And with something potentially in the air, something brewing for the Tigers at the plate, Mason Meredith's going to stand back in. He stepped out for Seth Jones in his last scheduled at bat, but the Tigers could potentially get this one back within reaching distance with a couple innings still to play. Runners on the corners. Montrese on first, and the incredibly quick Adam Jew 90 feet away. Big swing and a miss there from Meredith. Another swing and a miss for Meredith, so he goes down on strikes. Tiger center fielder unable to extend the rally. The Tigers get on the board for the first time on this Tuesday night. A Rafe Shamet solo home run and a couple of RBI on a single from Michael Montresa. They trail 10-3 as we head into the 8th inning. You're watching the Tiger Network.
Hey, can I call you back in like an hour? Okay. I'm still working at the game. And there's like 2 more innings, so I don't know how much longer it's gonna take. I'm still working at the game. There's like 2 more innings, so I don't know how much longer it's gonna take.
So 3-4-5 due up for Our Lady of the Lake here in the 8th. First, it's Diaz, who is 3 for 3 and also has a walk. He's come around to score in his last 3 at bats. See what he has here. Up against Brett Rasick. The senior from Los Angeles came in and threw a 1-2-3 inning in his first appearance on the season in the 7th. A 1-1 on his way from Rasick. And that one misses despite Hessler's best efforts to try and convince the umpire otherwise. That one finds the zone, leveling the count at 2-2. For Our Lady of the Lake, they just have 3 series left. One of those in conference. They've got Jarvis Christian College coming up April 11th and 12th. And University of the Southwest, the 19th and the 20th. This one's popped right towards Rafe Chemet. Out number 1 here in the 8th. And they finish up the season with the University of Houston Victoria down in Victoria, Texas. It'll be April 26th and 27th.
Batting second is third base, number 32, Bodie Flores.
If they are to see this one out here, as we get another pinch hitter and Bodie Flores, if they are to see this one out, they'll level up their record at 21 and 21. Another one popped up off the bat of Flores. Peterson fields this one in a similar spot to where he ended the 7th. And there's 2 away here in the 8th.
How about after the sixth, number 14, Bryce Putnam.
Here's Bryce Putnam, first year getting an opportunity here for Our Lady of the Lake. You know, baseball is such a funny game. Looking at the schedules for these two teams, one comes in on a 4-game losing streak, one comes in on a 4-game winning streak. And guess who it is based off the scores right now? Of course, it's the opposite, as Putnam puts that one out in front of Rafe Chemet. Our Lady of the Lake had lost in 7 innings to St. Mary's 25-1 April 2nd, and then dropped all 3 against nationally ranked Louisiana State University Shreveport last weekend. The Tigers, in contrast, took that dramatic game against Hardin Simmons on the walk-off Mason Meredith Grand Slam last Tuesday, brought the brooms out and swept Austin College at the weekend, and then came into this one positive vibes and plenty of momentum. And you can only hope for the season going forward that this doesn't throw things into disarray, as in the grand scheme of things, it's a game against not only a non-conference opponent, but someone not even in your qualification, the NAIA team. And it has really very little bearing on the overall course of the season. Maybe slightly affects a potential at-large bid were the Tigers not to win the conference tournament, as another stolen base comes off there. But the job is still the same if you're head coach Tim Scannell, if you're any of these Tiger players. Win the conference tournament. To do that, you need to have the best possible seeding. They can get to work almost immediately this weekend against Southwestern on that. And from there, the bats heat up, the pitching starts to find the zone, and you could potentially ride another wave all the way to a national championship, like we saw here, of course, in San Antonio in 2016. So basically all that to say, even if the Tigers do fall here, and even if it is one of their potentially worst losses of the season, really shouldn't affect things going forward. Stick to the game plan and bring the bats tomorrow to Belton and bring them to Georgetown at the weekend. Put this one out of mind. Rasick will be enjoying himself. He's been effective since coming in. This one, though, sent out towards Rafe Chemet, who lets it drop in front of him, and that will allow the 11th run to score. All 3 balls in this inning hit out into left field. Look like maybe Chemet just doesn't get a good judgment on that ball, or doesn't feel comfortable laying out to try and make a diving stop in a game that has such a margin in favor of the visitors. Can almost certainly tell you Rasick doesn't appreciate it. And here's another one sent out into the outfield. This one brought in, though, by Mason Meredith, and the Tigers will end the inning. Our Lady of the Lake grabs another run. It's 11-3 heading into the bottom of the 8th. We hope you'll stick with us As we wrap this game up, Tigers coming up, bats in hand. We'll be right back.
For the Saints in the top of the 10th, 1 run on 2 hits for no errors. One player left on after the bottom of the 8th. Scores RB 11, Trinity 3. Bottom of the 8th inning, leading off for the Trinity Tigers. Right fielder number 11, Jake Martin.
So Jake Martin will lead off for the Tigers here in the bottom of the 8th. We saw a mini resurgence from them offensively. Bottom of the last inning. Started with a Rafe Shamet home run. A couple of other runs came across the score on a Montresa RBI single. But it ended with Meredith striking out. Martin in danger of the same fate here. He's behind in the count, 0-2. And he was able to hold off at that one, so the count 1-2 after the appeal to the umpire at first base. Martinez delivery misses as well. Take you around baseball in the MLB. The Rangers are in Arizona and they lead 4-1 behind Mike Minor on the mound. After 9, the Nationals and Phillies are headed to extra innings as Jake Martin is headed back to the dugout after his second strikeout of the night. So potential one to keep your eye on there. Twins and Mets. Twins ahead 7-4 in New York after 7. Dodgers trail in St. Louis 4-0 in the top of the 8th. Yankees and Astros in a close one. It's 3-3 in Houston in the bottom of the 7th. Seattle in Kansas City. They lead 5-2 with runners on the corners in the top of the 7th. And the bottom of the 6th, the Braves lead in Colorado against the Rockies. In an all-California affair, the Giants have a big 6-0 lead at home to the Padres. Some games that went final earlier. We'll go through these quickly. The Blue Jays over the Red Sox 7-5. The Rays over the White Sox 10-5. Martins fall in a absolute landslide to the Reds 14-0 in Cincinnati. In another lopsided affair, the Athletics take the O's 13-2 in Baltimore. And your final game around baseball, Angels lead the Brewers in Los Angeles 2-0 in the bottom of the first inning. So we regret to inform you that now we return to San Antonio here, where the Tigers trail 11-3, and Rafe Shamet has just smoked another ball. This one, though, to much deeper center field. And the chance for back-to-back home runs for the Tiger left fielder is erased by the glove of Diaz. Good to see him, though, continue to hit the ball hard. The Tigers will need that, especially at the weekend. There's another one that they'll hope will continue to see the ball well. It's Dallas Bender. He reached base his last time up. And he puts this one out into center field. Racing in and making the catch is Diaz, so he's the star of the show. He'll go back and retrieve what looks like maybe, not sure. He left something out in center field. He'll probably go back out for it. But he makes 2 outs to end the inning here in the 8th. The Tigers Still trail by 8 heading into the 9th. Thank you for watching here on the Tiger Network.
Now pitching for Trinity, number 16, Ryan Mann. Title of my team leading off for our video race. Let's give it number 15, Jacob Montahano.
So welcome back to Ryan Mance, the senior left-hander. Takes the mound for the Tigers the first time since March 12th, where he started in the midweek game against Milliken over spring break. He confers, probably just confirming the signs there with Hessler. He's made the 2 appearances. In that start, he just went 1 inning, gave up 3 runs, 2 of which were earned, walked 3 and got a strikeout. So command issues in that outing. And likewise in the Rochester game, 3 days prior to that, he went a third of an inning and walked a couple. It's a guy that missed an entire season, his sophomore season, with injury, and has struggled to kind of find the command since then. He was the guy who they brought in. You know, he's a hard thrower. Saw a lot of potential in it. It hasn't panned out largely due to injury for Mance. He gets a chance here to impress head coach Tim Scannell, maybe get some more meaningful reps as the season goes on. And there's not much baseball left to be played before we head to the postseason for the Tigers. You can see on your screen now the remaining schedule. The away trip to UMHP, which we've been talking about, the away trip to Southwestern, then the return leg against UMHP, and then a series against Shriner to cap off the regular season. That one will be here in San Antonio, and of course, if you're unable to make the trip down, we'll have it for you here on the Tiger Network. As Ryan Chapa comes to the plate. Leadoff walk issued to Monteano. It's both exciting that postseason baseball is coming up and worrying, as the Tigers still have some kinks they feel they'll need to iron out, particularly after a defeat like the one that they are up against today. You thought after the 4-game skid, you turned it around, 4 games in a row, crushing the baseball, and now we come back out here, change the lineup around a bit, and it hasn't gone to plan whatsoever for the Tigers. But it'll be a test of mental toughness. Certainly have your eye on the game tomorrow against UMHB. check out who's in the lineup, how they perform, and that'll give you an indicator of maybe who they're looking at throwing out against Southwestern on the weekend. Unfortunately, won't be able to broadcast those for you here on the Tiger Network, but potentially Southwestern and UMHB will have video streams. If not, check the Trinity Baseball website for a live stat broadcast of those. Maybe someday they'll send me on away trips. So after a quick conference with pitching coach Dave Smith, Mance retakes the mound. He's up against Chapa, second baseman for Our Lady of the Lake. He sends this one out into shallow left field. Peterson going out and Shamet coming in. It drops between them. So a couple of runners on here in the ninth. And we were talking about that UT Tyler against Southwestern game. And wow, what a game that was. Still in the bottom of the 11th. Southwestern looking to come back from a 10-7 deficit. Again, that one against UT Tyler, defending national champions at the Division III level. And it's in the 11th inning. Southwestern have runner on second and 2 outs in that one as they're up against their final strike. Mance was able to get a strike here against Kessler. That one, though, he bounces in front of Kessler. Here's the 1-1 from Ryan Mance. That one comes in high and outside. So we see the reemergence of those command issues which have kept him out of regular action for the Tigers. It's all well and good throwing extremely hard like he does. But if you can't find the zone, it won't be of any value to your team. Southwestern now with the tying run at the plate after Kelly walks. So runners on first and second, 2 outs, down 3 in the bottom of the 11th there. As that one comes in outside as well, so the bases have been walked, loaded now for Mance. 1 hit in there as well for Our Lady of the Lake. Still no outs here in the 9th. As the Saints look to pile on what's been a outburst that really nobody saw coming, except for perhaps them. That one popped foul. That one will get out of play for Mitchell. Looks like he's struggling a bit, stretching his back. That one nearly comes in and hits Mitchell. It's looking to help the Tigers just put this one in the past. The umpire not doing them any favors here as that one misses narrowly as well for the left-hander. Their opponents in the SCAC next weekend have just grabbed another run back in the bottom of the 11th. They're 2 out rallying against UT Tyler. It's 10-8. fouled off. 2 strikes now for Mitchell. Mance comes set. And the 2-2 pitch on its way. Fouled off again. Second edition now of the 2-2 pitch from Mance. Comes in the dirt. Saints came into this game averaging just under 5 runs per game. They've more than doubled that here in this one. That was fouled back once again. Mitchell continuing to battle. First baseman not letting Mance get away with anything here. They also came to this one hitting a team average of 253. They've hit 306 and drawn 10 walks so far in this one. 10 walks, really a staggering number. 2 of those already in this 9th inning. That one comes in all too close for Mance, who looks like he's out there on an island. He's the one that's going to finish this game, regardless of how long it takes. Speaking of finishing the game, UT Tyler holds on 10-8 against Southwestern in the bottom of the 11th. Late rally falls short for the Pirates. That's an impressive performance and a warning sign to this Trinity team. What they're capable of coming up this weekend. Here's Diaz now. He's 3 for 4 with an RBI and a double. Double is his 17th extra base hit. Leads the team, and his RBI was his 28th. Also leads the Saints. He'll have another year as well for head coach Brian Awney, just a junior. Originally from Cuba. And he'll be looking to add to that now 28 count. Potentially push it over 30 here with the bases loaded and nobody out in the 9th. Diaz asks for time. Umpire says no. Get right in there. Let's try and finish this one out. Mance comes and deals, and he misses. Umpire is about to volunteer to go and throw strikes. Here's the 2-0 towards Diaz. That one's in there for a strike. You have to figure the zone is going to be expanded. He just needs to find something in the realm of a strike. Unable to do so there. The count 3-1. Nowhere to put Diaz with all the bags full. And he's walked him again. The 4th free pass issued by Ryan Mance since coming into the game. The second run added on here in the ninth for the Saints.
Now pitching for the Tigers, number 31, Will Insel.
And the Tigers will finally make a pitching change here as they look to close this one out. Trailing once again now by double digits, 13-3. And still the bases loaded with nobody out. Coming in relief, it will be Will Insel, Houston, Texas native. Right back as he takes some warm-up tosses. And the Tigers look to get out of this ninth inning. First pitch swinging was Flores against Insel. Will Insel, I believe, making his first appearance for the Tigers on the season. Saw likewise Brett Rasick earlier on, who was added to the roster specifically for tonight's game. Not privy to any of their background or experience with the Tigers. Rasick was a senior. Insel is a junior. But just added to the roster specifically for tonight's game. Normally 31 for the Tigers is Sean Cubley. The Clear Lake graduate not wearing his usual number tonight, as Insel gets a swinging strikeout there from Flores. And there's out number one in the ninth. It's taken quite a while, but we finally found it. Here's Bryce Putnam, who came in as a pinch hitter and grabbed himself a single in his at-bat. Massive change in fortune for him, who started off the season, or it's not really at the start of the season anymore. He's gone this season with a 154 batting average, limited appearances. He's the third different batter to take swings from the number 5 spot in the OLLU lineup. He's got an advantage in the count now, 2-0. Insel's 8th pitch is fouled straight back. Tigers will have one more chance in the bottom of the ninth. They trail currently by 10, though potential for that lead to continue to swell for the visitors. Due up will be the 5, 6, and 7 spot. Vonderar, Peterson, and Caraway. You expect to see some pinch hitters mixed in there as well. The 2-2 pitch is put out into center field, and the play is going to be made by Meredith. He comes up swinging here and unable to get there in time. Potential there to end the inning. Instead, round number 14 comes across for Our Lady of the Lake. All these runs, though, being charged to Ryan Mans, who came in and was unable to find the zone, walked 4, hit 1, and gave up a single for departing. You have to say the standout pitcher for the Tigers tonight was probably Holden Nix, who pitched the first inning, coming back from injury. And after inning 1, you think, all right, well, he's done well. Matt Thomas comes in, inning 2, does well. Think, all right, it's going to plan, going to schedule, and then the 3rd inning is where it began to derail, the beginning of the end for the Tigers in this one. But if you want to take one positive, I'll say 2 positives even. Rafe Shamet continues his home run streak, now 2 games in a row. His first 2 of the season coming back-to-back games. And you potentially are going to get Holden Nix back as we head into the stretch run of the 2019 campaign. Everything else, though, forget about it. It's gone poorly tonight. Insel misses there. The count now at 2-1. And this one is shot right at Peterson. He'll flip to Montresa, and the Tigers will get out of a dreadful top of the 9th inning. Give up 3 more runs on notably 4 walks and a hit by pitch. We'll head to the bottom of the 9th, where it will take 2.5 miracles for the Tigers here. They trail by 11. We'll be right back with you for the conclusion of this one.
Bottom of the 9th inning, leading off for the Tigers. First baseman number 10, Jack Vanderhaar.
So the Mission Impossible theme rings out here between top and bottom of the 9th inning, and that's basically the task at hand here. Tigers trail by 11, their biggest deficit at any point this season. can say the Tigers, they have a flair for the dramatic. But it would take something beyond the realm of even Shakespeare to come back here in this one. Vonderar will be the man to try and get it started. Peterson on deck. Ju waits in the hole. Hessler would follow him. Montresa, if we get that far. Jose Diaz, who's probably been the offensive MVP for Our Lady of the Lake. If it's not whoever this guy is, Walk. Okay. If it's not Walk, it's probably Jose Diaz. He's now on the mound. He's 3 for 4 with a couple of walks himself. See what he has now on the mound. He's already seen plenty of what he had from the batter's box. He issues a walk himself here. Vonderar, the leadoff man aboard. Do you hear some encouragement and clapping coming on from the Tiger dugout? Scott Peterson now digs in. Oh, he's going to be pinch hit before he can do so. It's Nick DeFazio, sophomore infielder, coming in for Peterson. Be a like-for-like change if the Tigers somehow forced a 10th inning. Nick DeFazio, another California native. He's making his Tiger debut tonight. So regardless of the result and regardless of the outcome of this at-bat, congratulations to him. He's one of many debutants for head coach Tim Scannell. Big swinging strike there for DeFazio. Graduate of Santa Margarita Catholic. Santa Margarita, California. The 2-2, and he goes down swinging in his first at bat as a Tiger. See who comes to the plate now. Looks like it will be Adam Ju as scheduled. Number 24. Bat from the left side here. Vonderar on second base. Tigers trail by 11 here. Diaz throwing from the stretch. That one comes in above the letters for ball one. Two-0 from Diaz. Also comes in outside. You know, I think he's just enjoying the moment, just soaking it in, doesn't want this game to end. And it won't. Oh. I mean, it still won't. It's 3-1. The umpire decided that one found the zone, some way, shape, or form. Drew fouls that one off, and the count runs full. You know, it's easy to look at the situation and say, look, game's over. Let's just hand in, go to bed, think about the next game tomorrow. But for some of these guys like Drew, who doesn't get very many at-bats, this is a big opportunity for him, if nothing else, just to get game reps. But potentially to impress his coach. He's unable to do so here as he goes from 3-0 to a strikeout looking.
Next up for the Tigers, pitcher number 23, Brian Hessler.
So the Tigers' last hope here in the bottom of the ninth will be Brian Hessler. Hessler 0 for 3 on the day. Under our reach on the leadoff walk, he's at second base. Hessler puts this one down the first base line. A diving stop made, and Diaz covering first, and that will end what ended up being a rout for Our Lady of the Lake. They take this one over the home team, Trinity, 14-3, and something that really nobody saw coming. There's your final line score. The Saints get 14 runs on 11 hits. Notably, they also had 11 walks and a couple of hit batters as well. Tigers get 3 runs on 5 hits, commit 3 errors, and leave 5 on base. We'll retouch on those 2 positives before we let you go. The Tigers get potentially a contributor down the stretch run here, and Holden Nix back from injury. He goes the first inning scoreless, a couple of strikeouts and a couple of walks. Rafe Shamet also goes yard for a second consecutive game. And the Tigers ultimately, though, fall short in a big way. They lose 14-3. As you can see on the screen, they'll have a couple of away trips coming up. You can follow those on the Trinity Tiger website through live stat broadcasts or potentially a video feed from one of the home schools. Thank you so much for sticking with us here. If you've made it all the way to the end, we love you the most here on the Tiger Network. We hope you have an excellent Tuesday evening, and we'll see you again April 16th.